Good afternoon. Welcome to January 21st, 2025 Board of Public Works and Safety. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Diana Phillips.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I can remain standing for invocation, Pastor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. As part of the invocation, I'd like to share a scripture with you. It's in Philippians chapter 4. And to set the stage, Paul was writing to the church of Philippi. They had been great supporters of him and his ministry for a long time, and then they finally stopped. But then he found him picking it back up again. And so that's where we find him writing this letter. How grateful I am and how I praise the Lord that you are helping me again. Not that I was ever in need, for I've learned how to get along happily, whether I have much or little. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of contentment in every situation, whether it be with a full stomach or hunger, plenty or want. For I can do everything God asks me to with the help of Christ who gives me the strength. And that's what I would like to leave you with. I can do everything through Christ who gives me strength. Let's pray. Almighty Father, I thank you for this meeting today. Lord, this board has an agenda, but I ask that your Holy Spirit will lead and direct all discussions that take place during this civic occasion. I pray that you will use the skills and abilities within each one to accomplish the tasks set before them. Help those involved to remain positive in all decisions and to always remember that all things are possible through Christ who strengthens us. And in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone. Please remind you to turn your cell phone ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Becky Gibson. Present. Diana Phillips. Present. Jim Barrett. Here.
Okay, everyone has the minutes from the January 6, 2025 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those?
Motion approved. Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Going down to new business, I'm actually going to move item A down to department matters. I put that one on location. We'll begin with resolution 2025-01. Rosemary?
This is a resolution to write off all the first aid accounts for the year of 2021.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Items C, D, and E, we'll probably do these one at a time. We have resolutions 2025-02. It's a joint board local 512 EMS. I gave everyone a copy of the two contracts. You have a red line version, so you can see all the changes, and then you have the final version. So it's up to you if you want to take them all, or if you want to do them separately, we can. We have EMS, we have streets, and we have transfer station.
I move that we approve resolutions 2025-2, 3, and 4.
Have a motion to approve resolutions 02, 03, 04 in a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And item F, we have a 2025-05 EMS Memorandum of Understanding. Any questions on that?
Motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second to approve resolutions 2025-05. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We went down to new business. Superintendent Steel.
Hello.
Hello.
I would like to request to accept the resignation of my Assistant Director, Grace Williams. She has accepted a position somewhere else and will be going to that position.
I have a motion to accept the resignations.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you. I would also like to request to hire my secretary, Kelly Moffitt, as the new Assistant Director.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And then I would like to request to be able to start the hiring process or interview process for a secretary.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief Jones.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
With the recent retirement of Captain Mark Simpkins, obviously created an opening. I have here with me today Nate Hufford. Nate has been a firefighter since 2018 for the city of Rushville. Nate has several certifications, as I listed, rope rescue, swift water, and he's also an advanced EMT. So with the board's approval, I would like to begin his first shift on January 30th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Thank you. Meeting again. Thank you.
Next, I would like the board's permission to start another hiring process. I have at least one more vacancy that I will need to get another pool of applicants to select from. And then there's, always the possibility of someone else leaving. So, you hear rumors of someone possibly retiring here and there, so we'd like to create another pool of applicants to select from. So usually we do this in the fall, but we're expecting a shortage here real soon of applicants, so.
Motion to approve the chief's request.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Next, did you get that?
Yes, they
You did give that to
It was
me?
in the packets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I finished.
When we bought our SCBA's, we had some issues with the first masks that we got, and we decided to return those and get a different style. We weren't happy with those, so when we did that, that left us with a credit with that vendor. So with roughly $15,000, since then I've applied a few invoices to that credit, but over several years, over several decades, off and on we have incidents on the river. We have a lot of swift water rescue equipment, a lot of guys trained to use it. But one thing we don't have is a rescue boat, so I saw this as an opportunity to possibly purchase one. Using that credit, we had that vendor give us a quote. We do have a video here I was going to show you guys. This is not that brand of boat, but it's very, very similar, but this is a good video to watch to give you an idea of what we're going to be getting. like I said, the boat that you have in front of you is very, very similar to that. And we quoted us a 30 horsepower Mercury motor for it. Initially, we would probably use it as the portable. The first scenario you saw on there, I think eventually I would like to probably have to get the trailer. Our issue is having a place to store it, which is commonly an issue. So with that being that large of a purchase, I wanted to get the board's approval to order that, and that would apply towards the credit that we have with that company.
So the credit will cover
Yep,
the entire purchase?
price.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I'll just stay up here, you're first on the list.
Okay. All right, moving on to the monthly report for December. We'll start with overtime. The total overtime for December, $9,800.54. The manpower shortage portion, $7,504.08. They scheduled overtime FLSA, $577.35. And then we did have the balance below that you see for 17/19/11. That was what we called in for the town terrace apartment fire, from calling in both off-duty shifts. So that covers the overtime. As you can see, the total for this year was $92,000, or $92,453.42. It was a little higher than last year, a little bit less than the year prior to that. So we did have some shortages due to some people leaving and getting some people trained. Moving on down to fuel usage. For December, we used 429 gallons of fuel for a total cost $1,544.42. Total incidents, we had 187 total incidents, 38 of those fire-related, 139 EMS-related, and we had 10 auto accidents. Moving on down to training hours, we had 62 and a quarter total instructed hours of training. 45 and a quarter were fire training, and 17 hours was EMS-related training. We had a total of 10 inspections for the month, and we had 0 hours of fire investigation. If you read through the remainder of the packet, you're probably starting to see the reports change just a little bit, maybe provide a little bit more information. They still may continue to change. They updated that reporting software, and it's got a lot of capabilities, so taking time, we can, refine the information a little bit more, but I think it's giving you a little bit more than what I was giving you previously, so. Any questions?
I like your report.
I do too, I like the breakdown, yeah, much better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Bolos.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, let's start with December's totals. As far as our incident goes, if you guys have any questions on that, we ended up with 542 calls last month, last December. Our overtime was at just over 16,000. Our gallons of fuel for December was 1,691 gallons of fuel. Any questions on December's totals? All right, in December, department training, we had 112 hours. K-9 had 8 of those. Our detectives took in 12 cases. They're all closed with 2 felony arrests. We took in 9 ICAC cases with only 1 closed in December. Drug Task Force had 3 felony arrests in December. Our drugs taken in December was marijuana 2 grams, heroin fentanyl 3 grams, meth 10 grams, 32 pills, 88 needles, and 6 items of paraphernalia and 1 handgun. Also reporting, we've just started our 3 new hires for 40-hour pre-basic. They should wrap that up this week, and we'll have them out on the street, which will be a big help eventually. So currently down 3. All right, does everybody have a copy of the yearly totals in front of you? All right, for our year on our incidents, we ended up with 9,595 calls in 24. On our total gallons of fuel was 22,543 for the year. Our year training hours as a department man hours was 1,929 hours of training. The K-9 had 208 hours of training and 10 demos in 24. Okay, our detective division had 257 cases taken in 24. They had 65 felony cases charged. They took in 35 ICAC cases. They also included an ICAC case that was worked in Toronto. The suspect was arrested in Toronto. I brought that up a couple months ago, so it's widespread. Their major focus is CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material. They had some search warrants that removed dozens of weapons and firearms. The 2 murder cases that we had in 22, they were finally resolved this year with an arrest. Our SWAT in 24 had 6 call-outs, totaling 34 hours of man-hours on those call-outs. They also had 136 hours of training in 2024. Any questions on those so far? One last item, as far as our drug intakes for 2024, we had 8,591 grams marijuana, 385 grams of heroin fentanyl, 398 grams of meth, 112 grams of cocaine, 1,500 the number of pills we've taken in. And do you guys have a copy of this, Patriot? So we had 21 items of other drugs, and that's indicated there in the boxes below, and 75 items of paraphernalia. We took in 216 grams of mushrooms, over 1,000 needles, seized 32 guns, and took in $12,776 in cash. Any questions on the December totals or 2024 totals?
The only question I got is on your 3 new hires, they're going to the academy anytime soon?
We've got 2 that's going to the next one, which is in April.
April, okay.
And the 3rd will be going in the end of September.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wulff.
Good afternoon. Recap from 2024 for the Ordinance Office. All in all, 2024 was a pretty productive year, I believe. We had 1,012 separate ordinance violations that I addressed. 235 of those came from accumulation of trash and rubbish. 228 came from grass and weeds. 191 abandoned vehicles, demolition derby cars, or expired plates were addressed and corrected. 107 indoor furniture being stored outside of homes. 66 due to parking positions. 34 dangerous buildings, 24 public information requests, 15 yard exceptions where people were utilizing yards for permanent storage, 14 dilapidated buildings, 11 harborage of rats, snakes, mice, or vermin, 10 animal control assists, 9 relating to trees or shrubs that needed trimmed or taken down, 9 area planning issues that were turned over to the county, 8 excessive noise violations, 7 machinery not connected with the operation of the household, 6 obstruction of visibility. A lot of that came from alleyways where trees and bushes were overgrown, and I had to partner with the property owners to get them taken down to make sure that we didn't cause any undue traffic burdens. 5 obstructing streets, 4 transient merchants, 4 handicap parking issues, 4 needle pickups, 3 home-based businesses were addressed, 96 relating to garbage, 2 relating to temporary signs, 2 obstruction of sidewalks, 2 nuisances causing a health or safety hazard, 2 issues turned over to the health department, 2 to state licensing agencies, 1 for accessory use of long-term rummage sales or garage sales, 1 hauling of waste to private dumps, 1 obnoxious odor, stenches, and emissions, and 1 dense smoke, and 1 issue I turned over to the county commissioners because there was nothing else I could do with the issue.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Director Wilson.
Hello.
Aye.
Hello.
Real quick, just wanted to touch base on something that I think the Village Creek and Hanson area, people are hearing a noise. I don't know, be referred to as like a humming or like a pulsating noise. We made a post on Facebook. We've investigated the area. We've got a lift station over there. It's running like it should. It's not making any strange noises. The Headworks building over there, I know it's new, but there's nothing going on over there that should cause concern for that kind of noise. So if anybody asks, we're still in the area. We're still trying to look. Some of the guys are popping manholes to hear if they hear maybe a loud rush of water. Maybe there's a water main break that hasn't developed yet, and maybe it's getting away to the sewer. And maybe that's causing a lot of noise or vibration in the lines that people can hear it mainly in their basement. So that's all I have for right now on that issue, but as of right now, we can't find any concern for the utility. It'd be a utility matter, but if we find that out to be different, we'll let everybody know. Moving on down, the December monthly reports, does everybody have those? Any questions on any of those departments, the utilities, street, or transfer? The utilities for the month of December, we pumped a total of 74 million gallons. One of our high pump days was 2.5 million gallons. The low day was 2.2. We added around 455 gallons of bleach and around 2,016 pounds of fluoride. And fluoride's added monthly into the water system. Typically around that much amount, between 18 to 2,000 pounds. The wastewater treatment plant, we had an inflow of 152.75 million gallons. And their effluent, which was the treated that left the plant, was around 105 million gallons. If anybody's curious how much rainfall we had in December, it was about 5 inches. The transfer station took in around $19,000 for the month of December. The street department continued to collect debris, roadside debris, clean catch basins. We had limbs, trees coming down through the storms. They stayed up on that, and I'd like to commend them for their hard work on keeping up with almost 15 inches of snow that we had. They were out 30 plus hours and came back, and I've never heard a complaint from any of them. We had trucks braking left and right, had to have both mechanics coming in. They stayed for several hours too to fix some of the equipment that was getting damaged. So want to give them some thanks and some praise for keeping the streets as clean as they could. I think they did a really good job. Does anybody have any questions on any of these monthly reports? I'll move on to the yearly. A few highlights for the year. As you know, I started back in August, so Brad may have been more apt to talk about for the year, but I've got some highlighted points here. We worked closely with Stone Municipal Group at the office. That's been going great. I actually had a meeting with Adam this morning. They're moving right along. We're closing out the years. Data's tracking for the new year. Numbers are starting to match, so everything is going really well with the office staff. Which all those girls are doing a great job. They're learning, just like in that contract with Adam. We're trying to do some on-board training there with the girls, and they're all perceptive of it. No complaints. They're just handling it as it is, doing great. We did complete phase 1 of the lead and copper rule. That is from the state. We have to do that. It's always changing, so I don't like to speak too much on it, but we have to comply. So. We just continue to do what they say and go from there, because we really are kind of held at the state standard to do so. And federal. So phase 2 will be some more testing and then finding out how to replace any lead line that may be in our infrastructure and go from there. We had an MS4 audit back in August. Overall rating was satisfactory. We added 1.7 million gallons of sludge, or we land applied 1.7 million gallons of sludge. The headworks building went online August 20th of this year. It's been helping out greatly. As many of you know, we don't have to do the separation of storm and sewer now because of the building got put in. So it'll hold a mass amount of rainwater and such. So it helps out from any overflows that may kind of be a ding from IDEM for us. We purchased a leak detector at the service building. That's helped out tremendously. A lot of times we dig where the water's coming up. This allows us to put a device to the ground, be as close as we can to the actual break, and only have to really dig once, as opposed to potholing, digging, spending a bunch of resources, labor, equipment hours, tearing up the roads. We can finally pinpoint it and do it one and done. So that's worked out really great. We upgraded the 9th Street water plant. We repaired a high service pump. We put a chlorine injection spot in for IDEM. There's some other things that we had to do per IDEM. As far as for draining the filters, we ran a new line to a hydrant. It's not an actual hydrant. It's literally just I guess you could call it a flush hydrant. At the 9th Street water plant. We also, at the utilities, have spent almost $600,000 repairing our upgrading and our assets. We have 3 different infrastructures in the ground: storm, sewer, and water. Each one of those come with miles of pipe and miles of problem. So the cost of repairing those are only getting larger. So we are trying to just do our due diligence in helping make repairs or doing preventive maintenance to kind of alleviate some of these costs. And then the long-term control plan, we had to make a couple of amendments to it. That's why you don't have a copy of it. But that should be getting done probably by next week. We'll have that for you to sign. But just some small discrepancies on dates, I think, was really all it was. But once we make that commitment in 2030, we'll have spent around $32 million in the infrastructure to meet against state standards and things that we have to comply with. And no choice. And we have small choices, but sometimes they don't give us a whole lot of leeway. But anybody have any questions over that report?
I like to point to the future planning, what you've got planned for 25.
Right.
Yep, that's a majority of what we come up with. I mean, it's probably not all there, but next year I hope to have some pictures throughout the year of things we've done. I did want to comment, Commonwealth was supposed to be here today. They couldn't make it, so they're going to come here February 3rd. So the task order, did y'all get one of those?
I printed them off,
Yeah.
the packets went out before I got this, so do you want to wait on this, or you want to go ahead and do it?
Yeah,
We can wait
Because I
on,
know we're
I'll just,
time bound on some of this.
yeah, I wanna go ahead and touch on it, I guess. We have 3 preliminary engineering reports that have to be done. They are for the lead service line, and for the SRF and the Okra grant. So we have to take a look at the preliminary engineering reports, see the kind of the scope of the work, but it won't be all the work. It's just enough to pretty much say to the state, here's what we've got, this is the plan that we are wanting to do, is the funding available for us to do it. The amount of those 3 PERs is $85,000, which isn't bad compared to some of the other ones. This is not bad, and at the end of the day, if it doesn't go through or something, SRF or Okra can't, they have stipulations that we don't agree to. Unfortunately, we will have spent that money and not get it back, but at least that's not the, right now, that's not what we think is going to happen. We think we're going to be highly favored in this SRF and Okra grant, and that we will be able to get it. So it's going to be money well spent. It will go back into the infrastructure, repairing mains, valves, adding some pressure in places that are low. The scope of work will be mainly, it's a water project. And in that will be the lead line, service line project. So anywhere where we dig, where we do work and we find lead, everybody gets replaced. And there's a $2.5 million grant out there. And then there's another $2.5 million on the back side of that that can be financed for 30 years at a certain rate. It's significantly low. So having said that, does anybody have any questions about the water project? Like I said, Commonwealth will be here February, I think that's the meeting, February 3rd, next one. They'll be here for that one.
So what is the timeline you're up against?
So we are at about March. I think by the end of March, we need to have all of our ducks in a row, from our rate study, which should be done at the end of this month, to the report that just went out for the cost of living, or it wasn't the cost of living report, it's from Klein Peter.
It's, yeah, it's a wage, it's a, what's the term, it's,
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
it's for the entire community, it's your wages.
Yeah.
wage reports.
So once we get that back, we'll be able to move forward.
Prevailing rate.
No, that'll be for the work, but I can't remember cost of living. That's not the cost of living.
I know what you're talking about.
So once that comes back, once we come back with the preliminary engineering reports, we can move forward, send our submission to the state, SRF, Okra, capture those grants, start the project, design and things of that nature, which is going to take 18 months plus. So, but we are, to get in the quarter we want to get in, it's very time, I guess, sensitive, because we did have to come back and scale the project back. In the beginning, it was over $17–20 million, and right now that's just not very cost effective for the utilities, in my opinion. And so we needed to sit back at the table. I sent you guys an email.
Yeah.
And just lower the cost a little bit. Right project, wrong timing, but at least we can get some of it done.
This March 15th date, is that your date, the date here on the second?
I thought it was mid-March.
Yeah.
That's why we're,
Yeah, March 15th.
Yep, so the date there would be correct, March 15th.
Do
That's
you
when
want
we'll,
this task order approved today?
yeah, I mean, if we can move forward with the task order, that would be great. I'd request permission to move forward with paying the preliminary engineering reports.
that's my recommendation,
Yeah.
just because I know the timeline's gonna get crunched.
It
We
is.
gotta have this one way or the other.
Yep,
If we get the grant, we gotta have it still.
Yep.
So it's future planning, it's cost, it's evaluation, it's a lot that goes in on that.
so if you guys would approve, that would just move this on down the road a little more neutral. So,
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
And then-
opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
the larger bit of the conversation, Al and Thomas can do from Commonwealth to answer more of the questions within the project. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Palsy. Sorry to interrupt you, but Mr. Hanson, I've not seen you in a long time. It's good to see you sitting over there. I didn't see you come in, sorry. Good to see you. Sorry, John.
That's okay. For the month of December, we had 8 hours, 23 minutes of meetings, 19 hours, 54 minutes of original production. Our YouTube channel had 13,231 views in 2,096 hours, with 3,872 subscribers. Top content for the month, not surprising, it was very popular, was the live feed of all the snow falling on Market Street Plaza. So people love to sit home and watch the snow fall and not go out in it. And then for Facebook, we had 5,457 views, 4,300 followers for the TV3 Facebook. And then City Facebook had 10,670 views, 6,000 followers. So we're doing really well with reaching the community. Then the annual report, which you may have, it's a little, I got it to you a little late, but it's in the black envelope here in the folder. There's a lot of data in here, which I like to give everyone so that they can see what we're doing throughout the year. But the most interesting part to me is on page 7. And page 7, I did a breakdown, not just of Channel 3, but of all of the city social media accounts. And what I discovered when I really dug into this is I didn't know this, but we had one department actually go viral with one of their posts. And they had over 1.3 million reach, which is extraordinary. And I think when I first saw that, because it didn't tell me what that was, I had to research that to find out what it was. And apparently it was a post that we did back in May where people were putting oil in their trash bins and it dumped all over our trucks, and we posted pictures of the trucks covered in oil, and apparently people really wanted to see that. So, but I actually put a picture of that in there so you could see what that looked like. And basically it's please don't put that in your trash cans. Then on our the second highest reach for the year was the City of Connorsville Facebook page. 189,200 was our total reach there. And in third place was the Connorsville Parks and Recreation with 130,673. A lot of the departments don't know what their reach is because those figures are hard to get to and you have to really kind of dig into it. But overall, I'd say we had very good reach on social media. And people are paying attention to that, so we've got to continue to use that to reach the public. Did you have any questions on the report? I don't know if you had a chance to go through it. I can tell you that on finances, we came in a little less than $20,000 under budget. So we always try to keep that as low as possible. And then on the final page, we have just a breakdown of photographs so you can see some of the things we did throughout the year. So, I know there's an awful lot of data in there. Any questions?
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Great job.
Chief Harden.
Good afternoon.
We're just have a copy of the December 2024 report. We had a total of 366 calls for service, which was the busiest month we've had since July of 23. So, at that time we had 167, so it wasn't that much busier. So we ended the year with 4,111 calls. 53,271 total miles. Did, you see my fuel usage and fuel tax rebate submission. Did have EMT Charlie Cat graduated from the IU Health Lifeline paramedic program. She's since got her national certification and her state license since then. So very, very excited to have her done. Does anybody have any questions on my monthly report? I do not have a yearly report yet. There's still, so the monies that the city receives is done. I mean, because we're kind of on a cash basis on that. But some of the ratios I don't like to pull right away because through the billing because it's not going to be accurate for at least 30 days. So I usually wait till the very end of January to pull those numbers, because if a call went out and it got taken on January 31st at 11 p.m., that's still a 2024 call. If I pulled those numbers January 1st, it hasn't even went through the billing cycle yet. So I try to give it some time to get through that cycle. At least some of those calls get through that cycle, the bulk of them get through that cycle before I start pulling reports. So I'll have a yearly report for you in February. So to be a little more accurate than doing it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent Steel.
Okay, I'll start with my January report. We are currently hiring for our seasonal workers coming up. We'd like to go ahead and get that started so that we have everything in place, because there's some training and things that we need to do with everyone. So we are hiring for pool lifeguards, concession workers, grounds crew, and then counselors for summer discovery camp. And Logan is probably going to look for a few concession workers to work all of our sporting events. He already has a couple lined up, but we have a lot of sporting events that we have concessions at, so he'll be hiring for that as well. As far as some things I'm working on this month that I want to look out for 2025, we are going to be replacing the Miller Building vanities and sinks. They're in pretty bad shape, and I don't believe, to my knowledge, that they've been replaced since the building has been there, the Miller Building. So we will be replacing those, and then my maintenance crews will be installing them. So, and then I'm looking at also quotes for the Miller Building doors, and then we will be putting cameras at different locations. And this week, depending on the weather, they hope to get the first set put in at the bridge. And then I will be putting cameras at the pool as well. And then we will at the playground and skate park once that's set. And then I'm also probably going to put some at 2nd Street Park as well. We're looking into that because we don't have electricity over there. So he's looking at solar cameras. So that's probably something we'll be doing. And Hillfi is who we're working with, and he's taking great care of the city. And so we're going to continue working with him at the park as well. Some programs that are currently taking place for January is our basketball league. It's in full swing for the kids, the youth, the men's league, and the church league. And I just want to commend Logan. He works so many countless hours outside of just being at the office during the day as well. He does a good job managing his hours, but I helped fill in for him and work for him on Saturday at the basketball league. And he's there from about 7:30 until about 7 at night. And lots of hours that he puts in. And then he works at the Miller Building on Sundays for our men's league, and then Monday nights for our church league. He's there, and so he does a fabulous job, and I'm just really proud of stepping up, what he's done to step up in this position and take it over. And I hear great compliments all the time, and so I just want to commend him, because when I sat in on Saturday at the basketball games, you know, he's it's enjoyable to be there, but he also has a lot to deal with sometimes too. So he does a great job. So I just want to commend him for that. And then I did turn in our proposal for our 2025 funding through Reed Community Benefits. And it has been through the first process of the team that has to initially look at it, and then if they approve it, then they send it on to the governing board, and it has been approved and it has been sent to the governing board. And I believe it's either this week or the beginning of next week that they will look at that, and they will confirm if they will approve the request that I sent in. So it looks promising, and that's $30,000 that we requested, and they will help with Living Well, Aging Well, Summer Discovery, our youth sports, and then our events that we put on for the community. So it's a great partnership that we have with them. And then Logan is currently working with sponsors for our sports program. He is going to seek about 45 businesses. He did a fabulous job. Before I came on, and I'll talk about this in a minute, but before I came on, I think that they were bringing in around $10,000 for sports sponsorships, just from people in the community. And he is almost at $30,000. So he's been working really hard at bringing those sponsorships in to just help grow our sports programs for the youth. And then just upcoming events for this month is Living Well, Aging Well is a constant thing, but I wanted to mention that again, that we have weekly, daily, and weekly activities each month for Living Well, Aging Well. And then I have my yearly report here. I just have some things I wanted to point out. So, and then if there were any questions, feel free to ask. But on the first couple pages, just kind of a rundown of who's employed at the park and what parks we have, our vision. And then on page 6, some planning and growing. We had last year completed the Longwood Bridge. We are almost finished with J. Long Memorial 2nd Street Park. There's just a few things that we have to finish there, and we hope to open that park this spring. So it will come along quickly once the weather breaks for us and we can get over there to finish a few things. And then our plans for 2025, we are looking at River's Edge and getting the list completed that DNR is requesting. We will be starting at Offutt's Park this spring to put in our walking trail and our exercise equipment. And then Roberts Park as well. We have the skate park. We're working currently with Hunger Skate Park for the design of that. We actually have our public meeting next week on the 28th. And that's open to the public. Everyone's welcome to come. They will be showing the design of the skate park. The skate park is on Facebook currently, so if anybody wants to check that out, they can go and take a look at it. It looks great. I'm really excited about that. And then just working with the trails and everything, we did receive that $5 million grant that I talked about in December, and so we will start the process on that. And then the completion of our 5-year park plan. We have submitted it to DNR, received it back, made the corrections that they had requested. We will be submitting that again, and then that will be finalized and approved before April is the timeline that we have to have that done. And then the next couple pages just talks about the employee personnel changes that took place in 2024. And then the next page I want to talk about, the rest, the few in between were just our rentals and facilities that we have. On page 14, we have the Aquatics Center, and it just talks about how many staff members we had for 2024. So we had our pool director, which was actually the assistant director who oversaw the pool. And then we had 3 managers, 16 lifeguards, 5 guest relations or admissions, and then 10 concession crew that worked in the pool house. I also threw in there that the office staff also take care of the pool as well. We book all of the pool parties. We do any kind of bookkeeping that needs done for the pool. And then our grounds crew, they take care of all of the maintenance of the pool. And so it's not just pool employees, it's all of the rest of us as well that are working at the pool. So I wanted to put that in there. And then I just put a timeline through the years of the income that has been brought in. It doesn't mean that we are profiting that much money in the green. We haven't got there yet. You know, we're still in the red as far as our income versus expenses. But I did want to show the timeline through the years of the amount of money that the pool has brought in, and we're starting to see an increase in that again. It did drop. 2018 was the highest, and then it started dropping from there, and now we're back up and trying to bring that back up again. So I wanted to point that out. And then page 17, I listed all of the sports programs for the youth that we have, and then how many we had participate in those programs. And then also I wanted to point out how many volunteers that we have that participate in those programs as well, because we have a lot of sport events that we put on, but we can't operate those sporting events unless we have those volunteers. And all of our coaches are volunteers. They put in many hours with the kids. And so I wanted to really point that out in this book to show you how many actually do participate. And then the next page, 18 and 19, it talks about all of our programs that we put on. We did Bunnies and Brownies, the Renaissance Fair, First Responders Trunk or Treat, and then Christmas in the Park. And total participants and vendors, I listed those as well. So we had a great turnout in 2024. I only have 23 and 24 to compare to since I started in 2023, but I've seen a growth since I've started. From 23 to 24, there was definitely a growth in participants that come to all of our programming that we do. And then Living Well, Aging Well, I listed all of the activities that we have and all of the participants. Now those participants, like for instance, it says we had 514. That's, some of those are multiple walkers, but I'm showing how many times they come and walk. So they participated multiple times throughout the year in the walking program or pickleball or whatever it is that they participated in. And then page 21 is our sponsorships. We had great sponsorships this year. I set a goal for my team for 2025 to just increase that even more, but we had $9,690 brought in sponsorships just for our events that we put on. That doesn't count the sporting events. And those are listed here if you're interested to see who does support the Parks Department. And then the next page, 22, are the sports sponsorships and all of the organizations that sponsor our sporting events. And like I said earlier, he's almost at 30,000. He brought in $28,002.99. And I said, okay, Logan, you got to reach 30 in 2025. So that's his goal. He wants to reach that 30 mark, and I believe he can do it. And then page 23 are just other friends of the park that participate in different things that we have, whether it's in-kind donations that they've gave to us, or they come in and help in different activities, whether it's Living Well, Aging Well, or Summer Discovery. We have a lot of people that put in a lot of time and hours at the park, and that can't go unnoticed. And so I wanted to make sure that that was put in here as well. Channel 3, they do a lot of things for us throughout the year as well, with pictures at different events. And so, and then just some improvements that we did on the next page, 24, at Roberts Park, the completion of Longwood Bridge. We did purchase about 10 new tables for the Miller Building, chairs, and a storage cart. We replaced the fountain at the garden at the Miller Building through a donation. And then we set up the assistant director with office supplies and computer. We put in mulch. We did put in electricity at the Miller Building storage garage. There wasn't any. And in the mornings, Jeremy comes in pretty early, and it's still dark when he works. And so he really needed that electric so he could go in and see what he's doing in there. We did fix the chimney and repair some of the roof at the Roberts Building. The chimney was in pretty bad shape, and the brick was falling down. And so for just the safety of our patrons, we wanted to make sure that we replace that and fix that. We did put, at the administration building, we put a fresh coat of paint, we patched the walls, and then we fixed the flooring in there as well. And then some of the other things that are listed there, we purchased some sports equipment for the Miller Building. for the different activities that we have. On the next page is all of our volunteers for the year. We had 347 total volunteers that helped at different points throughout the year. And then the last couple pages are just our sponsorship levels and opportunities. Does anybody have any questions? We do have a park app that's on the last page there, QR code that anyone can go and download our app, and they can see all of our updated information on there as well.
Oh, I was just gonna, excuse me, ask if anyone wanted to do an application, what's the best way for them to apply for some of your?
Sure, they can pick up an application at the Miller Building, or they can go to, they can pick one up here to Rosemary's office. I don't know if there's one on the website or not, but they can always come into my office and pick one up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Move on to old business. Anyone have any old business? Claims? I'm sorry, miscellaneous business. Wow. Now claims.
Claims for January 21st, 2025, the city, $177,496.07. Payroll, $466,164. Utilities, $418,973.93.
Motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Did you forget this?
No, we didn't.
That was the first one we did.
Never mind. Okay,
Move on down to public. Anyone from the public have anything to say?
this is the first thing.
If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good afternoon.